Hello, and welcome to today's yoga session. We'll be doing some great postures for building core strength, and you're going to get a step-by-step tutorial on how to do two postures that a lot of people get wrong. Don't worry, we won't let you be amongst them. Before all that, we're going to start by taking a few breaths in a seated position. So make yourself comfortable, whether that means sitting cross-legged, on a block, or with your knees propped up. Whichever way you're positioned, just make sure you're able to sit up straight, so you're not slumping through your lower back. When you're comfortable, close your eyes and start to draw your focus inward by taking notice of the feeling of the mat beneath you. Bring your awareness to all the parts of your body that are making contact with the mat. And then, each time you breathe out, imagine roots growing from those contact points. Now begin to extend your inhales. As you breathe in, feel the air expanding your rib cage, and then, as you continue to inhale, lifting your chest. As you exhale, feel those roots burrowing down into the earth again. And now, on the inhale, grow upward from the crown of your head again so your body feels long. And exhale. One more inhale here, and an open mouth exhale. Okay, open your eyes and let's bring a bit of movement into the spine. Come onto all fours, placing your hands directly beneath your shoulders and your knees directly beneath your hips, stacking the joints on top of each other. Spread your fingers so you feel a good connection with the mat. Tuck your toes under or leave the tops of your feet flat on the mat. As you inhale, drop your belly and lift your gaze into cow. As you exhale, press your hands into the mat, lift up through the mid-back, and bring your chin towards your chest into cat. Another round of cat-cow. Inhaling as you lift your gaze and your bottom. Exhaling as you lower your gaze, lift your back, and tuck your tailbone under. 2 more rounds in your own time. Be mindful of your breath. Try to coordinate your breathing with your movements, so that each transition lasts as long as it takes for you to inhale and exhale. 1 more round, keeping your movements soft and fluid. Inhaling as you lift your gaze and lower your belly. Exhaling as you lower your gaze and arch your back. Come back to tabletop pose with a neutral spine. You need to stay on your hands and knees for our next move, a spinal balance posture. It requires some pretty fierce core strength to maintain your balance, so let's get those muscles fired up first by drawing the lower abdomen towards the spine. Press your hands too, so you feel your back muscles engaging. Now, slowly take your left leg behind you, keeping it parallel with the floor. Try to avoid lifting your left hip. Keep it level with the right hip, like you do in Warrior 3 pose. Feeling steady? Then begin to extend your right arm in front of you, so you're balancing on your left hand and your right knee. If it gets too wobbly, you can always put your toes or fingertips on the mat for a moment. Keep your breath smooth and even, and focus your gaze on something. Not too high up, as this will only compress the back of the neck. Check your core muscles are switched on, and then start to take your arm and your leg out to the sides. When you do this, you might get a bit wobbly. Don't worry, just go with it. Wobble about until you find your balance again. That's the whole point. We're training our bodies to do this. And when you find some stability in the posture, you can increase that stability by actively pushing out through your toes, your fingertips, and the top of your head. Keep breathing. 1 more inhale and an exhale as you lower your hand and knee back to the mat. Good work. Okay, time for the second side. So again, let's set the foundations by engaging the core muscles while we're still on all fours. Push into your hands too, and take your shoulders back so you can feel your shoulder blades moving down the back of your body. And now for the wobbly bit, bring your right leg out behind you without lifting the hip, and then, when you're feeling steady, extend your left arm in front, palm of the hand facing inward. Remember to keep the back of your neck long so your breath can flow freely. Ready to go further? Then take your arm and leg out to the sides, taking care to keep everything straight. And while you find some stability in the pose, notice which muscles you're using. Again, push into the hand on the mat for some extra support if you need it. Or if your chest is collapsing, come onto your fingertips so you can lift up. Take another inhale here, and then exhale and release. Sit back on your heels in a kneeling position and shake out your wrists as they've had a lot of pressure on them. Move your hands in circles, clench and release your fists, and then come down to child's pose to catch your breath and release any tension in the body. Take a few long, deep breaths in the posture and feel the back of your body opening and expanding with each inhale. Then, as you exhale, notice how your entire body softens. Let yourself melt down to the mat. Coming out of child's pose, make your way into downward facing dog. Hands and feet shoulder and hip width apart. Fingers spread, shoulders open, so rotate your upper arms outward to draw the shoulders back, whilst pressing down through the thumbs and forefingers. Bend your knees and lift your sit bones high as you inhale. Then use your exhale to begin straightening the legs. Inhale and lift your right leg. Exhale and step into a lunge with your foot between your hands. The back leg stays strong and you're lifting through the inner thigh. Inhale, lengthen to the sides of the body. And with an exhale, step your left foot beside your right foot and come into a forward fold. And from your forward fold, bring your hands onto your elbows for ragdoll pose. Have a play around here. Turn your body left to right, nod your head, turn it side to side. Now put your hands back on the mat and come into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Lengthen the spine. Exhale and fold. Engage the core and inhale up to mountain, taking your arms overhead. And exhale as you swan dive forward. Inhale halfway. Exhale, fold. We're going into a low lunge next, so take your left foot back and then drop your knee. Inhale as you rise up into crescent moon, arms overhead, shoulders back and down. Press into your front foot to keep the right hip in line with the left hip. Bring your pelvis into a neutral position and lift the upper body away from the pelvis. See if you can bring a bit more flexibility into the left hip by easing your hips forward on the exhales and then lifting back out slightly on the inhales to create a slow and controlled bouncing movement. Inhale here one more time and exhale as you bring your hands back to the mat and step back to downward facing dog. Inhale through the nostrils and open your mouth as you exhale. Another inhale as you sweep your left leg up and back, and an exhale as you step the foot through to lunge. Keep your back leg strong and push into the heel to bring the hip forward, at the same time as you draw your left hip back. Inhale, and exhale as you walk the right foot forward and come into a fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale up to mountain, fingertips reaching towards the sky. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale halfway, head forward, hips back, and exhale, fold forward. Plant your hands firmly on the mat. Keep your left foot forward and step your right foot back so you can drop onto the knee, ready for crescent moon. Inhale as you lift your body and arms and see if you can find both stability and ease in the posture. If you're wobbling, bring your awareness to your left foot and press down through the inner edge of the foot. At the same time, draw the knee out to the side. Remember to use your core muscles too. Another inhale in crescent moon, and an exhale as you bring your hands down and step back to plank. Shoulders above your wrists, heels pushing back, body in a straight line. Make sure your elbows are close to your ribs, and with an exhale, slowly bring yourself down to the mat. Untuck your toes so you can come onto the tops of your feet. Then inhale as you lift your upper body away from the mat into Cobra. Exhale as you release back down and either press up to plank from here and straight back into downward dog, or come onto the hands and knees first and then send your hips up and back into downward facing dog. I want you to drop down to your mat for a moment now so I can show you two postures that people often get wrong: Chaturanga and upward facing dog. They feature in a lot of yoga sequences though, so it's definitely worth getting them right. We'll start with Chaturanga, and first I'm going to show you how to do it with your knees on the mat, as in half plank. The full posture is done without the knees on the mat. So starting in half plank, you're going to keep your elbows tucked in and your shoulders back as you lower yourself down. Only instead of going all the way down, you're just going as far as you need to create a 90-degree angle in your arms. As you do this, it's likely that your shoulders will try to come forward and your hips will either lift up or slump down. But just like plank, we want to keep the shoulders back and maintain a strong, straight line throughout the body. So have a go. First time around, starting in half plank. And if you manage that, try again, starting in full plank. As you do this, remember to breathe. Don't hold your breath. Let your breath help you. Okay, come back to a sitting position again so you can see the next posture I'm going to demonstrate, upward facing dog, which we often come into from Chaturanga. First things first, upward dog isn't just Cobra with straight arms, even though many people think it is. Notice how in Cobra you have your hips on the mat and your elbows bent. You're using your back and shoulder muscles to lift the front of the body. If you straighten your arms here, you just risk compressing your low back. In upward facing dog, you do have your arms straight, but your hips are off the ground and you're resting on the tops of your feet. Your body is suspended between your hands and feet. At first, your thighs might not come off the mat completely, but eventually they will. So the transition from Chaturanga to upward facing dog looks like this. You start in plank, full or half. You lower yourself until your elbows are bent at a 90-degree angle, and then you flip onto the tops of your feet. Some people are comfortable rolling over their toes, whereas others have to actively flip the feet over. And press into your hands to lift into upward facing dog. From there, you can then lift your hips up and back to come into downward facing dog. Start in plank or half plank. Lower yourself halfway on the exhale, then come onto the tops of your feet and push up into upward facing dog on the inhale. Exhale as you tuck your toes under, lift your hips and ease back into downward facing dog. From there, you can come down to child's pose or into corpse pose to rest your body and give your muscles and your brain time to make a memory of the work you've just done, so that next time you come to your mat, it's just a little bit easier. Well done for making this commitment to your health and well-being. Your body and your mind will love you for it. See you next time.